We are back!
Episode 18. We're at a different place. We're here at the wonderful golf course, The Fields, which we're going to get into in a minute. But first, as always, this episode is brought to you by our good friends at Proud 90.
And I finally got my own thing to do now. If we're trying to stand out on the golf course, you need to check out polos at Proud 90. They offer tons of crazy designs that are also perfect for these hot summer days. They're lightweight, cool, and comfy, just like you would expect from any top-tier performance polo. But before you submit your order, be sure to enter our code BSG15 to get 15% off your entire order.
Just so you know, Brady wrote that for him.
He did.
Zach, you got your ad read?
I don't have an ad read today. I'm committed.
It's committed.
I'm committed to the ones who are committed to us.
Well, tell them bye. Tell the old company bye.
Not yet. Not yet. I got a couple orders pending.
He's a big Roback guy.
I like Roback. It's great for the office, for coming out here after church.
You sound sad saying that.
Yeah, you do.
It depends. It depends on the day. I like Proud 90 a lot, so that's why I'm riding right now.
Proud 90.
Well, you're not sponsored by Mando today, so that's...
Yeah, I changed shirts after work. Somebody commented, they said, "Why are you always wearing Mando shirts after work?" I was like, I go after work. What do you mean?
So make sure you check out Proud 90 at BSG15. But we're going to jump into it. Brady, you got a nice little thing to read to set up our guest?
Yep, I got a little bio real quick. I was going to start off and say...
And hold on. If any of this is wrong, tell them it's wrong.
Okay, you can interrupt me. So today we're on location, and we have a very special guest joining us. But before we begin, I have a short introduction. We are just up the road in LaGrange, Georgia, at one of our favorite courses this side of the Chattahoochee River. His dad, Mike, was the original architect for the course, so this place means a lot to these guys. Both have been featured on the Backdrop podcast and the Fried Egg, so they are no strangers to what we're doing here. We've set up some questions to ask during the episode and find out what makes this course so special. And now, without further ado, we're joined today by the owner and operator of the Fields Golf Club, Ashley Young. Welcome to the show, Ashley.
What a read.
Thank y'all. Welcome.
Was that completely true, all of that?
That was good to go.
Oh, okay.
I did my research.
He did his research.
We're building a Wikipedia page for him right now.
Go search for it. Oh, God. All right, jump us into it, Brady. You're our podcast expert.
All right, so my first question we can start off with today. What were some of your first memories growing up around golf and all the equipment? Because your dad was into all that stuff, right?
Some of my first memories were actually here on this piece of dirt when they were building it in 1989. I'd have been, I guess, 8 years old. I remember there was a big dozer stuck the first day I came out here on number 10 pond. They were dredging it out, and this guy drove a dozer down in the middle, and he's sitting out there. They had another dozer trying to pull that thing out of the lake, and that was one of my first memories out here. It was all just red mud, and there was a guy at the time. He was the biggest man I'd ever seen. His name was Tom Bell. He worked out here for a long time, and his hands, it was like, just these mitts, and he looked like I remember him to this day, and so that was literally some of my first memories. This was the first golf course my dad ever did, and before that he was in the equipment sales business. So he sold turf grass equipment to mostly new construction. He did that on purpose to try to get into the business, and so he worked for Toro. And then when John Deere started selling equipment, we lived in Conyers, Georgia at the time, and John Deere had a big place there, and they got into the turf grass section. And so I'd ride around with him, go to trade shows, and pull trailers. I could mow grass quicker than any kid in the neighborhood because he'd bring home like big 5-gang, 7-gang units, and I could do it in like 2 passes. And so I got exposed to it that way, and then he kind of taught the original owner here, the Gill family and the Couch family, kind of found this piece of land because it was an old farm originally. It was originally an old cotton plantation, a huge piece of land out here, and then they raised cattle on it for a while. So most of it looked like it does now.
Yeah.
And they picked it out for that, and Dad somehow talked him into letting him give it his first go at design, and then from there he got his start. But that's kind of first things. And then we built the course, Lane Creek golf course up in Watkinsville. If y'all haven't gone up there and played, I need to set you up and go check that place out.
Oh, yeah, that'd be fun.
when I was 14, 15. My granddad picked me up 5 in the morning. We'd go up there, and Dad said, you're going to learn it from the ground up. So I was on a crew with a bunch of Hispanic guys, and we were sprigging fairways, and I spent weeks at a time just with a hay bale in my hand, just shaking, shaking straw on fairways and stuff, and so that was probably the first few times I was exposed to it.
Well, I for one wish he would have never did the pond on 10 or 11.
Man.
I wish it was just grass.
They were there. I mean, they were old farm ponds.
Okay.
Yeah. So all these ponds were originally here.
Yeah.
And
probably the 11's the hardest hole to me out here. We can get into the holes later as the interview goes, but I don't want to think about hole 11 right now.
Yeah. So, what kind of career did you see yourself, or did you see for yourself when you were growing up? Was it related to the golf industry at all, or did you really want any part of it?
I really didn't plan on having any part of it. Dad and I were always real close, but he got me into other things. He never pushed golf on me, and honestly, golf was nerve-wracking to me because I'd go play with my dad, and he was a scratch golfer, and what he did for work, he was usually playing like really nice courses that he's selling to, and so I'd tag along. He'd let me hit some balls, but I mean, all these guys were sticks, and I was learning, and you know, he was selling, and it was like places where you'd have to mind your P's and Q's, and it was just I was too nervous to play well, and he got me into other things, outdoors and whatnot. He was help with our scout troop and all that, and then just grew up around it and saw the grind of him trying. The hardest part of golf course architecture is finding the next job. It's not building them. It's so you're trying to always find that work, and it can be a real cutthroat thing. And so I tried my best to go do something else, and now I love what I do. I wouldn't do anything else.
Wow.
What were some of the first things you decided to change whenever y'all got to acquire this place?
Well, we changed the name back to the Fields. First of all, it was called Overlook. Originally, it was the Fields, and then people, the second owner changed it to Overlook, and everybody still called it the Fields. And we thought that was a lot more fitting name, so we changed the signs, changed the name. We didn't change a whole lot, really. It was the bones were always here. It was always a really nice layout and a really nice piece of land, and so it had been. I don't want to say neglected, but it had gone through. Golf had gone through some changes. You know, it was built in '89, so you know the second owner made some good choices on, you know, putting in some more extended tees and doing some stuff like that, but. A lot of it just kind of gotten a little grown up, and so we did some tree work. Took a lot of you know, trees that probably weren't there when it was first. That were 20-year-old trees, like down the fairway corridors, like right here between 1 and 9. There was kind of starting to. So we just want to open it back up, bringing the native areas back in. A lot of privet hedge and stuff had gotten in there, and. Took it to one height of cut, kind of got rid of the mow lines and stuff where you just, I wanted it to look like a course was just mowed out of this farm. I didn't want it to feel like
that's what you had in your notes.
Yeah, was the, like, this 2 heights, was it originally here whenever y'all got it and y'all did the 1 cut, or was it already like that?
No, it was 2 cuts or more. I changed it to 1 cut for. Some of it was just monetary reasons. It's a little easier to take care of. Pace of play.
Right.
Just making it friendly. And then that's how a lot of the old courses this was modeled after over in the British Isles, Scotland, Ireland, England. They were kind of built that way.
Right.
Where it was,
So now that you own the course and your responsibility is taken care of, is there anything you wish your dad would have did differently building it?
I'm sure there's a lot of things he wished. At the same time, some of the cool things that got done, they were all learning. So it was the first one he did. There were a lot of shapers that went on to work for some big name architects. One of the guys that did a lot around the greens worked for Nicholas Designs for years after that. And so I think somewhat they weren't restricted by, hey, this is what we did this place. It was kind of like you guys got together and said, hey, I want to do a golf course. There's some things you get right just because you're putting all that years of dreaming about it into it. It drains really, really well. They did a really good job with that. You can come out here and play after a downpour and still get out there.
The greens are always in great shape. So we'll play some other courses around the area, and the greens here are always like glass to me.
I feel like that's one thing. Like when somebody brings up the fields, they're always like
Fast greens.
They're always like, man, those greens kill me every time I go out there. And it's usually like not in a bad way, because they're always like, we're used to these. I don't know. You're used to like something that's just not as true, and I can't put my finger on it, but it's in a good way though.
Yeah, that's probably the most.
Used to
I
not
appreciate
playing
that.
where greens, you think they're supposed to move one way, but they move the complete opposite or don't move at all.
Yeah.
Here they do that.
Yeah.
So if you see it's going to break right, it's going to break right.
I'll tell you what I love about the fields is that it's not. There's a lot of courses in the culture now in golf. I'm about to go on my rant about the PGA Superstore. I hate that it's.
You might have to edit some of what I say if I get into it.
I hate right now the game of golf to me, and I say this about the Superstore, is that it's an old white man sport, and it's not so much that they don't want to change; it's that they're just rude about it. Like I want to bring somebody new out here, and you go to the course, and maybe it takes you longer to play around than it should. And you have an old group of old white men yelling like, "Get out of the way!" or "You should be playing that slow." And I'm trying to explain it's his first time playing. I don't care. Get out of the way. But out here, every time I come, it's such. And with you being the owner, it's like such a vibe out here that you don't have to really worry about that. Everybody's cool. Everybody's chill. Just you don't have that stigma out here. That I think that's it. May be with the concerts and stuff. Like everybody knows the fields is like it's a party spot. To me, that's how I view the fields. So you're not carrying that stigma of. Stuck up out here, you gotta have your shirt tucked in, you gotta have this and that. So that's what I love about it. And you do a great job of that. I appreciate that.
That was something in my notes that I wrote down, like getting ready. I was like, this place has the entertainment that most courses don't have. And you look forward to coming out here. Like you don't look forward just to come like shoot a good round. You're like, the environment's gonna be where you want it to be when you're
really
playing.
the only other place around here that has even something like this where they have concerts and stuff is all the way at Lake Martin.
Yeah.
So I mean it's
that's a cool spot
for me
over there.
it's 45 minutes up here, but I'd rather come up here because I play it more and because they live closer to it.
Well, since you just made that statement, let's talk about your love for the.
Let's finish asking him questions.
He's the owner of the course, Mitchell.
Let's talk about Mitchell's love of the field.
For some reason, we say let's play at the fields.
It's a love-hate relationship.
Mitchell likes playing. He does like playing here, but he also has a side of him where he cannot score here at all. And he's like, do we have to go there this week?
It's something about this course I cannot score.
What is it? What is it? The owner's right here.
I don't know what it is.
His dad designed
I come out here and I see the grass. And I'm like, it's gonna be a bad day.
It's too wide open. He
would
knows
think-
he can swing away.
You would think somebody.
That's one thing
It gets in
people
my
say.
head that I could just unleash on it, and it's just gone.
People say that. They'll come out and be like, the fields is easy. We've got
It's
some
wide
people that
open.
play other places, and they're like, there's no, you can just hit it wherever. It's like,
Okay.
with architecture, it's all about angles.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
even though you might be, it matters what angle you're coming into some of these greens, and the defense is at the green. So,
Right.
But we want to keep people in play. Like you might come out and shoot 105, but a lot of people can do that and play their own ball all the way through, at least mostly all the way through. They might have shot a 12, but they hit that same ball 12 times, or maybe they didn't. But
You look at me all day. 'Cause I know that's true.
I think that's
I'll go through three
part of
balls
it.
on number 3 like it ain't nothing.
And because we do get all walks of life out here. I mean, we've got a couple members here that are members at Peachtree. We've got, and then people that just come out and this is the first round of golf they've ever played, and we want to make everybody comfortable. And I mean, per like the dress code and stuff, it's my main rule when people call on the phone and ask if there's a dress code. I'm like, no, but we have a code of like conduct, and I just want people to respect the golf course.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're wearing a t-shirt. I mean, I've seen a lot of well-dressed folks that can be some of the most unhappy people when they're out there and they're driving up right close to the greens. They just act like, they've got a kind of an attitude like, hey, we're just some redheaded stepchild of golf. And it's like, come out here, respect the course. I don't care what you wear. If you're playing music, you're not bothering anybody else. Just go enjoy it, but respect the place. And back to the greens, that's the same thing. Like we're rough around the edges, but I mean, they call it a greens fee for a reason. So most of our maintenance budget goes into those 3 acres of grass. We've got 158 acres, and
Cool.
We prioritize those 3 acres, and then the 10 acres around the greens, 1.5 acres of tees. The fairways are what they are, and I mean, I'm not wasting time out there edging my cart paths and taking care of flower beds around the tee box signs and all that stuff. We want to keep it core golf, where like if we've got an extra hour, it's or an extra $1, we want those greens to be better than anybody's around, and keep them true and consistent.
Yeah.
It shows up.
Yeah. When your dad built the course, were there houses down hole 1 and next to 2?
There were a couple. I mean, the original owner had most of the surrounding land, and so they built the subdivision as well, but they wanted to keep it core golf, so the routing was done as a parkland course. Obviously 185 hems it in on one side. We've got a big conservation easement of some hunting land over near 11 that never really be touched. And then, so the houses really just go 2.5 holes, and that's it.
You may not can answer this because you may be buddies with them, but do you wish there weren't houses on the course at all? Or does it not matter? Is it kind of...
I mean, obviously in a perfect world, it'd be awesome to just have, but I don't think once you get out of, I feel like the character of the course too doesn't really open up till you get on that tee box at 5 and you start seeing it open up. And
that undulation as it just
rolls
where
it's just,
the hill.
You come around, all of a sudden the sky opens up, and by that point you're away from the homes, and luckily they're on the left side, not the right side.
But, I don't know. They were in danger the last time we videoed that. My 3-wheel went right at somebody's house.
I think that's why those 2 lots still don't have houses on them on the dog leg on number 2 there, because they're getting some golf balls in the pool or something.
I tried that one too.
Well, I know like most courses with houses on are like that country club or private club feel, so I didn't know if you wish they weren't there, but like you said, it's only, what, 1.5 holes, basically? 2.
Well, this place was built for golf and for golf demand. One of the reasons the original owners, like Callaway Gardens, was part of the reason this course was built, because it was back in the 80s and 90s. I mean, they were still playing tour events out there. I mean, it was regionally advertised. You had people coming all over the southeast to go play Callaway, and the greens fees out there were a lot higher than here. And so they got all the overflow from Callaway coming here, because there wasn't anything besides the club. There weren't a lot of the courses in Noonan. So he built this with the intention of getting overflow from Callaway, and it was built for golf demand. A lot of the golf courses, and that's a lot of the jobs that we've gotten as architects, you're building those courses for a developer. So the land plan has in it, like, hey, we're going to build this course. It's to get the home site values up, and they're really making their money off selling that land. And they'll honestly half the time turn the keys over to the golf course, the homeowners association, give them the course, and they're out of there, and they made their money, and they really don't care about the golf demand. They just wanted to sell lots. And that was the business and it really ended up hurting golf, because there was a lot of golf built around the Atlanta market and around the United States. I mean, there's 16,000 golf courses in the United States. 6,000 of those 16,000 are in Florida.
Oh, wow.
And
I didn't know that.
Most of those are built for lots and whatnot. I mean, there's subdivisions in Florida with more golf than the whole all of Troup County.
That's crazy.
And so you had a lot of that going on, but it diluted the market, because then those courses were on the downhill slide. They didn't have the capital to put in to keep them up, and they would drop their round prices and whatnot, and then enter things like Golf Now, which don't even get me started on that. But
oh man,
do y'all don't fool Golf Now?
No, we don't anymore. I tried it once or twice, and it's just, I don't think it's.
So what's the deal behind Golf Now? I don't think this is on here. So, like, being a golf course owner, how do they contact you to be on there? Or do you send it in? How does that?
No, they contact us. I mean, some people probably reach out to them. Basically, they work on trade times, so they've got some different tiers, but I think the minimum tier is like two tee times a day, and it seems good for the consumer at first, but ultimately it's not, because it's a race to the bottom in pricing, and at some point you can only put out a product for a certain amount of money. And so when we got here, they were on Golf Now, and they were giving away 2 tee times a day. So that's 8 slots. Now they don't care about the foursome or whatever, so say they're picking like, and that's every day. So say they've got the 10 o'clock and the 10:10, and you get on Golf Now, and then you buy the 10 o'clock tee time, and it's you guys playing, and y'all don't know these guys. Well, they sell y'all those 2 slots and they're like $20, and I'm getting, say, 35. And you're like, hey, we got a good deal. And then they're going to sell those other 2 slots, and you show up and you think you're playing a twosome, and they're here, and y'all are together. And so I, as an owner, either have to make the choice to, hey, let's make y'all happy. I'm going to split you up. Well, then that takes another tee time. And then we don't see any of that money. That all goes to them. So, like, if they got, and they have no money in it. So if they got $20 a piece, that's $80. That's $160 a day going to Golf Now.
Crazy.
So that's $320 a day they're making if they sell them all. And they're supposed to market other times. Most of the time, when we were on there and I watched it, the only things they were marketing were their trade times. So we wouldn't get another tee time booked off the Golf Now Electric website. It would just be their trade times. And then you're getting a guy that's coming out that's just looking for the cheapest round, and usually they weren't. That's why they were playing, because they could play for $20. They're not respecting the course. And so when I took it down, I actually had a lot of people, calling me greedy and all this. Hey, that's how and I'm like, man, I'm not even getting $1 for you to come out here and play. But you'll get courses do it because they'll get their point of sale system now. So say, like, instead of you investing like we do, and we have a monthly fee we use a system right now we're switching to called 4Up. And if you're a small course and you're not the owner of the Golf Pro, and the owner's saying, hey, you can't upgrade your computer system or whatnot, Golf Now will come in and say, hey, give me 5 trade times. We'll put your computers in. We'll do all that stuff.
Really?
Then you're trading out 5 times a day. And they're making, $500, $600, $700
Hand
a
over
day.
fist on it.
And that's all going to Golf Now, which is owned by Golf Channel, which is NBC, Comcast. So
The bad guys.
yeah, they sold millions and millions of rounds of golf, discounted, without ever mowing a blade of grass or ever caring about anybody in those places. And I think it's ultimately bad for the golf market, because owners have to be able to turn a profit to keep these places open, because otherwise it's just a downhill slide. That place closes or whatnot, and I just don't think ultimately it's good for the industry.
All right.
What percentage do you think of golf course owners do as much as you do as far as working around or just running the clubhouse? And because you're all over the place.
I think very few.
Do you enjoy it though?
I love it.
Yeah.
It's, I don't know what else I do now. It keeps me, if I had to go ride a desk somewhere, I mean, I couldn't do it.
What do you do more, like your time breakdown throughout a day? Like, what's your day look like running a golf course?
It's seasonal. I don't get to spend as much time lately, because fortunately we've been blessed and been really busy the last few years and getting a lot of growth. So I'm trying to just harness that, leverage that. My passion's being out there working on the course, but in the mornings I kind of get the crew going. As far as the maintenance, I kind of set the parameters, kind of give them the goalpost, and I might not be out there. I'll still mow greens some weekends if people need time off, and I love it. If I get frustrated in the day, I'll run out there and get on the fairway unit and go mow approaches. It's just relaxing. You're not getting any phone calls. Everybody leaves you alone, but I don't get to do as much of that anymore. But I'm setting the height of cut. I mix all the spray tanks. Yeah. I'm kind of setting the mow lines. Looking at kind of the 30,000 foot view of the golf course, but I don't get to be involved in it. And we're still working, doing renovation work and building. So this week I've been down in Auburn a lot. We're redoing the practice greens and starting a practice facility design down at Salgahatchee.
Oh, wow.
So we're putting sprigs in there tomorrow. So Dad's coming down and we'll be over there getting their practice green, little practice bunker we built for him at Salgahatchee. We've been up at Johnson City Country Club all this year. We redid about 40-something bunkers, and it's kind of like a plumber with their pipes. Theirs never get fixed. So, like, people come out here and be like, y'all's bunkers are rough shape this week. Like, but you're building bunkers for some, 1913 Tillinghast redo. And but there we've got a budget to go do it. And that's how we get stuff done here. So if I've got shapers that have a weekend off and we're working on a project, or I've got extra sod, or I've got equipment. We just bought a Mini X here actually 2 weeks ago, because we've got some bunker redos done, and it'll live here. When I have a shaper that's off, I can bring him up here for the weekend, put him up, and we'll go knock out 2 or 3 bunkers. go back to work somewhere else. We're about to start a new course in the city of Vidalia. It's going to be amazing.
So you still do a lot with your dad?
Yeah, we work together. Mainly this is where I kind of default back to, and when we don't have that going on. But he does the sales, gets the jobs. He's the architect. He's the mad scientist behind the layouts and all that. When I come in, once they're going, I do a lot of the site management, work with the superintendents, work with the crews there, and do that. So we kind of feed each off of each other in that aspect. And then when we don't have something going on, I default back to here.
Do you design any or help him? Not help him, but maybe say, hey, what about this? Or
Somewhat, a lot of that's in the ground. A lot of design is like, people like to think it's like, hey, you're on AutoCAD and I'm going to do this and draw this, and then you go put it in the ground.
Yeah.
A lot of the design and what he's really talented at is the layout. And there might be 15 courses on a piece of land you could design, and you're trying to get the best layout for that routing. So once you get the routing done, a lot of it after that point's done in the ground. You'll have the basic strategy of, hey, this is a par 5, this is par 4, this green's here, this tee complex is here. And you might have the strategy that hold the bunkers, whatnot, but you're getting in there, and especially on redesigns, because you don't know what kind of pipe you're finding in the ground. I mean, out here, a lot of things they might have wanted to do, you end up hitting rock you don't know that's in there, like a big bump to the high point on 8, this to the right of 8. A lot of these knobs you see, there's solid granite in there where you're not going to go in there and just shove that out of the way. And so you find those kind of things on site, and you're really it's really a communication between my dad, the architect, and myself and the shapers, the shaping crew. So they're the ones kind of with that paintbrush putting that in the ground. And then once that's all roughed in, you come back and then you dial in your green surfaces. So we do a lot of the final floats on the greens, getting those grades correctly. But a lot of it's about water movement, drainage, stuff outside of, hey, this is, because all of us could come up with a whole, I think this would be cool, that'd be cool. But you got to think about not creating a maintenance nightmare for the super that's got to take care of it. Because it's one thing to put a couple $1 million into building one, but your budget year to year is what keeps that course going. And the superintendents, we've always said, are just as important. A lot of people know the architect's name now that did the course, and they have no clue who the super is that takes care of that place every day.
Yeah.
Even here, I mean, this was a different course 10 years ago when we got here, and we didn't change anything architecturally, but you changed stuff maintenance-wise to bring that course, kind of polish it out to what it's supposed to be.
It's crazy how much stuff when we play golf that we don't even think about.
I wanted to highlight some of like the other stuff that's not on the course, like the clubhouse, the range facility, like all the amenities that are here that are not, I guess, on the course. So obviously you got a really nice range facility. We're sitting in the bar area right now, which is, I mean, it looks amazing in my opinion. I love it. Yep. And then right in through those doors is the simulator. So I was going to ask you just to elaborate on any of that if you wanted to.
Yeah, it's a work in progress for sure, and I'm sure people come out here all the time. They're like, "Man, what is going on at that place?" Or what the pro shop looks like it's a mess. Or so, kind of, we always had a vision of what we wanted to be, and I had was fortunate that I worked here for a few years. We ran it under a lease before we owned it, and I got to a free look at like what was going right, what was going wrong, what had changed. And so when COVID happened, we were running out of a tent on the first tee box, and I said, hey, this will be a great opportunity. They're forcing us to shut the clubhouse down. So we kind of just started gutting it ourselves. And actually, my dad, when I was little, he was a cabinet maker before he got into golf. And so he had a wood shop, built cabinets, all that. And so we did a lot of it with a good friend of mine that's a member here, John Thompson. And the three of us really over COVID did a lot of it ourselves, and just in spare time, but kind of the philosophy was you wanted to create a clubhouse that wasn't stuffy, but had quality golf products when we're done. So the pro shop's going to be sweet. Some of the brands y'all kind of carry, that's the kind of stuff we connect with, like where it's not just your normal thing. We wanted to be. We've got accounts with all the major manufacturers, so we want to do club fitting. That's why we put the simulator in there, but also connect that to the bar where you can come have a beer, play the 19th hole, settle up your bets in there on the simulator.
Oh, that'd be cool.
That kind of thing. We've got a full club repair facility. I think we're one of the only ones, or one of the broadest range of things we can do in there, as far as reshafting, repairing clubs, getting your grips, all that kind of thing done. Upstairs, we've got a plan. There's a couple offices now. We want to redo that. We're working with the county to try to see what we can do legally. It might have to be under the radar, but we want to put a little Airbnb up there where if you got a foursome that can come play, you can stay upstairs.
Oh,
that is
nice.
cool.
Kind of get
Yeah.
the full experience. We've got some land around here where we're thinking about doing that same thing, some little golf cottages where people can rent them out and come play.
So this is Pinehurst Part 2.
Part two, yeah.
Kind of that idea, but way more laid back, affordable.
Yeah, affordable.
But yeah, this place, this used to be like a fishbowl in here. So there were windows all around. You kind of only one entrance. You came in here and you couldn't get out to the patio. And we kind of feel like right behind us that's what you're selling, is this view.
Oh, yeah.
So we wanted to open it all up, kind of make it for tournaments and events. That's a nice thing about it not being private club, but it is a public course. But at the same time, since it's ours, you're just dealing with us. So if somebody wants to come have a tournament out here, it's their place for the day. So we wanted to make it Clubhouse, laid back. And then the practice facility, we cut down some trees on the back tee, expanded the tee because the ball's gotten 20, 30 yards longer since that driving range was designed. So people were just hammering drivers into the woods. And I mean, you can say no drivers, but most people want to come to the range and just smash
Let's talk about
drivers.
That's one of the questions
So-
we had about the future of
No, that's one of the questions Zach had.
Yeah, one of the
He
questions I
said
have,
make sure that gets in there.
because my biggest problem
Casey doesn't have that.
is the big stick in the morning and
Yeah.
off the first tee box, and I'll come here, I'm like, oh no, I always forget.
No, he
I
was
come here
here.
after work and I'm like,
He was
Oh,
here one day.
You can always hit them up on the top tee, and then our goal is where that rock wall we built, we're still not finished. I've just got so many irons in the fire with projects, but we've actually already got the turf, and we're going to take the very back up next to the rock wall and put about a 10-foot wide mat. It's about 150 feet long, and it's teeable. You can stick a real tee in it, and that way year round you can go back there, and when we have tournaments, we'll probably put the tournament balls back there so you're not, because we want to keep a real grass range so that you can work on your
Right.
irons to
Yeah.
get the feel. But when we have big events, or if it's in the winter or it's wet and we have to close the range, you can go back there and hit. And kind of Brett's done a great job up at the drive bar, and we won't ever be anything like that. It's really cool what he's got going. But same thing, we'll probably have some tables, chairs out there. We're going to take the old bag drop area and turn that into a little makeshift like bar check-in area where if it's real busy, we can sell some beers out there, keep the range open later. We've got a ball machine out there y'all have probably seen that we hadn't plugged in yet, but it's all automated where you can take an app on your phone and buy balls. If you're a member, you can use a credit card. So that way, even after the pro shop's closed, if it's still daylight, you can come up and buy a bucket of balls, go out there and hit
oh, that's so
up
nice.
until
so
late.
cool.
Yeah, that's really nice.
And then we took the other tee out. I don't know if y'all have seen it, but we're still growing it in, and I'm experimenting with about 2 different grasses. So we've got Champions Ultra Dwarf on our greens here, but the new practice green we just planted, that's Mach 1 Ultra Dwarf, which they have down at Streamsong. There's not a lot of people in the southeast with it, so we were experimenting with that, so I know how it acts if we wanted to use something like that at another place we're doing. And then the chipping area we built, we took out that whole tee over there and put about 20,000 square feet where it's all got all different downhill, side hill, uphill lies. We're going to stick a little bunker over there. So we've got it all irrigated, and that's strictly for short game use, shag your own balls and whatnot. So we're finishing that up so that we really want it to be the best practice facility in the area where people can come out, even if they're not playing, they can work on their game. And then the front practice green, that big flat area used to be an old croquet court.
Oh, wow.
That's originally what the first owner designed it for. So it's 80 by 100, but being it's flat, it doesn't drain super well. So that green gives us more problems than anything on the course. So I'm probably going to next year tear up all the turf on it, go fix some places. We want to expand some greens, like 2 green. We want to take that about 10 feet to the left. When they redid these greens, which happens a lot, when they sprigged them, a lot of them shrank down in size, and some of them were originally a lot bigger than they are. So we'll probably gradually redo a few greens a year where we take those perimeters back out. So we're going to use that. It's about 8,000, 9,000 square feet of grass. Refloat it, build a new back tee for one in there. Maybe have a walkway, leave a flat spot where you can come right up on the tee and you can practice putting right before you step on the tee.
Oh, wow.
And in the other area, we're going to put some more movement in it so that the water drains off and replant that with new grass. So we'll have that kind of dedicated green there for warm up. We'll have our kind of green we built over here with a little putting course that's got a lot more undulation, and then we'll have our chipping green. So
it's coming down.
Never know when it's going to rain out here.
Yeah.
Is this a nightmare for you when it? Well, I know it's a love-hate because you need the water.
There's a quote in the golf industry that a brown golf course is making money, but it's awesome when it rains. I mean, we're blessed. We only irrigate. It's another thing golf courses get a bad rap about. Everybody thinks they're like
Always
these
spending money on
environmental
water.
nightmares. They think we're out there spraying this or that or doing all this stuff. And you've got farms here. If an acre of cotton puts out 10x the amount of fertilizer and pesticides than an acre of golf grass. So out here we got 158 acres. 3 acres of greens. That's the only thing we ever put an insecticide on for cutworms, whatnot, a few times a year. So 3 out of the 158 gets an insecticide. We got 10 acres of surrounds, an acre and a half of tees. That's all we fertilize. So we basically fertilize about 15 acres of the whole golf course. Yeah. Maybe once a year I'll do all the fairways if we can afford it and it makes sense. Then you fertilize it, you've got to mow that, it's mowing more. So rain is what waters our fairways, and we like to keep it fast and firm out here, but rain's always a blessing.
So all those like ideas you were just talking about, where do you have a team that y'all sit down and discuss this, or is this just you riding around thinking, I like to do this,
It's Dad and I riding around, like this is what we'll...
How often is he here riding, looking at the course?
He's here about once every other week. He lives up in Athens, that's where all my family's from, and so...
That means you have dogs.
Yep. We finally got us one.
Does he ever ride around and wish he could change some of the design, or does he talk to you about, hey, let's redesign some stuff?
Absolutely. Okay. And we'll butt heads all the time because he's got some great ideas, and then I'll look at it like, well, I've got to take care of that, or I've got to fix that, or hey, we got this coming up, and but it's a work in progress, and it probably will be as long as we have the place. So we've got some things. I've kind of got 1 week projects, seasonal projects, yearly projects, and then stuff we look at 5 years down the road.
Yeah.
So we've kind of got a master plan that we're working off of as far as when we've got materials, equipment, or capital that, hey, we're going to go do this, or certain things that when we're doing this, it makes sense then to do the irrigation or this grass job or this bunker job. Right now I'm focused on renovating bunkers, so we're going to start chopping off, maybe 3-4 at a time. We're taking some out. Sand is on a golf course is the greens again are where I want to put my time into, and I can go out and mow the greens in the morning in 3 hours. I can go spray the greens in 2 hours. We can vertigut the greens, brush them 3, 4, 5 hours. To rake bunkers, if we get a rain like that, if you just got a downpour like we just got, and we went out there and raked bunkers this morning, and say we get a flood that lasts 30 minutes, it could wash the faces off every bunker out there. And that guy that spent all day doing that, we've got to go back out. Whereas the greens are there. So to us, like a minimal crew. So it's myself, my assistant Larry, who is probably unknowingly one of the best assistant superintendents in the state of Georgia. I mean, that guy does not quit. And with his knowledge, he's been here 30 years. Then we've got 2 guys under that mow, a retiree that comes in and mows fairways, and a mechanic. So we've got about 6 guys that take care of this whole place.
Wow.
And so if we've got to go out and rake bunkers, 10 minutes a bunker, 30 bunkers, you're looking at a 7.5 hour day, 30 minutes for lunch, 30 minutes to get your tools. That's a salaried position if I wanted to rake bunkers every day. And to keep the greens fees where I want them, which is a reasonable price. That's why I just tell people, hey, you want to pay $60 around, I can go rake bunkers every day, but we kind of look at bunkers that they're a hazard, they're a waste area, and that is low man on the totem pole for me.
Take a free draw.
There you go.
Is that what you think you get the most not feedback, but hate on is bunkers, or you think it's greens, or?
Usually it's not the greens. I'm probably harder on the greens than anybody out there. Like even today, I'm out there. I mean, I tweak on those greens daily. I mean, they're kind of, it's like having 18 girlfriends. They're all a little different. And you got to treat each one a little different. And that's my passion, are those greens. The bunkers, definitely more on the hate side. The ones that need to be there, we're going to go back to more of a flat bottom bunker. The owner before us he had a little more pocket than we did, and he was trying to get a Hooters Tour event out here, and he was playing on the Hooters Tour at the time, and good guy, but they were trying to get the slope rating up a little bit, and they went and added some places. The group that came in and redid them, they put a lot of high flash on some areas, so like say 16 bunker, that big face that comes up, we get a rain, it washes down, so some of that will come back, and that's what we just did at Johnson City. So we'll put more of a traditional flat bottom bunker in, get grass on that face. I'd rather be out there fly mowing that face than trying to push sand back up. And then you don't have as much sand washing. So our goal is to get them maintainable so they stay better for you guys. And then, but that's one of the things. It's across the board. I mean,
people always have something to say about.
Yeah, you get people that understand the architecture, and they come out here, and I think the place, when Andy from Fried Egg, y'all mentioned the Fried Egg, when he came out, it was in December. Place was totally brown. There's POA everywhere. 5 people played that day. He shows up out of the blue, got his buddy. The bunkers are washed everywhere because we've had torrential rains. It's dormant. It's not aesthetically like as nice as it is right now. And I'm like, oh God, like of all days, like here comes Andy from the Fried Egg gonna play. And he did this phenomenal review on the place because he really got what we were trying to do. And then I get somebody come out, and the greens are rolling awesome, and I think the place looks great. And then they're picking on the fact the cart path is, there's some mud over here in this cart path, or like
that's how I judge my courses. Mud on the cart path. Can I ride smooth with a drink?
Some people manicure it as being good golf to them, and that's okay. I mean, everybody has their own opinion, but there's a lot of courses that are on the top 100 in the United States that, in my opinion, might not need to be there, and there's better courses that could be, because architecturally, if you go out and play them and you're a true golfer, they're going to be fun. But if you took some of those courses and they didn't have that $1.5 million maintenance budget and they weren't manicured, you would never hear about them.
Yeah.
Right.
Because people go out there and they have this experience. There's a warm towel in the cart. There's free waters on every hole. They can go up and there's a nice, Chick-fil-A nugget ice machine at the turn house. And to them, that's good golf. And to me, the bones of golf are what makes good golf.
Cooler full of apples.
So the one thing that I didn't mention when I asked about the amenities, you guys have a lot of live music, and that's starting to build, I believe.
We're trying to build it, and part of that's a passion project. I go out here and play. A lot of people are like, you must play golf all the time, and I love to play golf. If you guys come out, I'll go play golf with you guys. It'd be fun.
Yeah.
If my friends come down, my dad comes down and play, but I don't go play golf to relax in the afternoon, because by the time I make the turn on 2, I've seen 20 things I need to fix, and my stress level's like here.
Let's go back to the Clubhouse.
I want to go play somewhere else. I go play point with you guys. I have a blast.
Yeah.
Because
the local course.
It's not my place, and I can just go relax. Here, I can't relax, but music's always been a big passion of mine, and Dad kind of got me started in that at a young age too, and two, like just cash flow wise, I think the most beautiful time to play out here is the afternoons, and we'll be dead. I mean, the sun's setting out there, it's laid back, you go have fun, and the parking lot's empty at sunset, and I'm like, man, we got this great facility. To me, there's not a prettier place in the county when you're looking off this back patio in the afternoons, and I'm like, we need to start doing music, and it's kind of starting to pick up. Just last week we had 2 events, and we had a busload come down from Atlanta. They brought 50 guys.
Oh, wow.
They said, hey, we want to, they pulled up the bus in the parking lot. We had them lined out. They said, we want some music like we see on Instagram and whatnot. I booked the Chase Tibbetts band. We put them up back here. They came out. We did a big barbecue for them. They're chipping balls and playing cornhole in the 9, and we just made a day of it. And it's something we want to do, just to use the facility. And to me, that's fun. It's something totally outside of golf that I can still do something to enhance the facility, but I'm not thinking about turf grass.
You talk about the sunset. We just had that rain come through, and now look, the sun's out.
Here we go. That's it. We'll see you next week.
You're gonna go play about 3 or 4 holes real quick. No, I love that about the fields. Like I said earlier, it's just the vibe out here. You don't get that stuck up. It's just fun. Yeah, that's what I like.
It's different when you go to the country club.
No matter if
Don't
you
get me started on
shoot good or not.
We had not me. He had experience. He was just trying to go to the range to hit balls. This is what I don't like about golf. And the guy was like, "You can't hit on the range if you don't have a polo on." And he was like, "What?" And he had to leave. Like that's
they
the
made me
stigma.
leave.
That's what I don't like about it. So
I mean, you look at all the tour pros when they go play on their places, and they're jamming to music, they're playing in t-shirts. I mean, they're not. It's I don't know that we got to grow the game, and you're not going to grow the game by making people feel excluded. You got to make people feel included. And if you want to, I like nice polo shirts, everything as much as the next guy, but it doesn't have to be that way. Again, I think it just goes with respect for the game, respect for the course, and
that's what I was going to ask you. How would you like to see the game grow?
I think overseas they get it right. I think in the United States we've done a lot of good things for the golf. But
Overseas, do you mean live tour?
I mean, we can get into that if you want. I'll dip my toe
I was
in the
thinking
water.
music on the range, you know. But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, you go play in Scotland, Ireland, where the game started, and even where the Open was at St. Andrews this year. There's one day a year they're allowed to play on Sunday at St. Andrews, and that's if they host the Open. Other than that, it's closed on Sundays.
It's a public park,
and it's a public park. You go walk your dog, you cruise around. I've been over there. I mean, at night. There's people just walking around having beers on the course. It's public land, and you know that place too. Like you look at the Open, and that's good for golf. That place was browned out. It's firm. It's rolling good. And a lot of people look at it and I don't get it, but you go over there. Everybody walks. I think carts have. Love them or hate them, and I get it. I'd be out of business if it wasn't for golf carts here.
Yeah.
But they walk over there. It's more of a relaxation endeavor. They take the game a little more seriously as far as the game. They take golf a lot less seriously as far as everything else that surrounds it. So, and they play fast. I think that's how we grow the game. The game takes too long now. When you're coming out and it's a 5-hour round, 6-hour round, people don't have time for that. So you got to have ways to speed the game up. Do different things where if you don't have time for 18, I mean, we've got some ideas out here I'm kicking around. I mean, I'd love some input from people like yourselves, but we're thinking about doing like a cross-country court routing for the afternoons where maybe tee times that can just get 9 holes in. We send everybody off the back 9. We take the front and maybe set our par 3 tees up where a guy can come out $10, take his kid, take his dog, go out there and for an hour, he can go get an experience in and not feel like he's just got the only choice he has is playing 9 or 18 holes or banging balls on the range.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I can come out here, I can spend an hour and still get on the golf course. I think that's how we grow the game is just making it inclusive, speeding up play, making it relaxing. We don't grow the game by being like, man, it's $150 to play. You got to have your shirt tucked in. It's going to take you 4.5 hours and, you know, you're losing a dozen Pro Vs when you're out there.
See, I had an idea for us to have an event at a course, but make 9 holes all par 3s, even if they're par 5s, whatever. Turn them all to par 3s, have music playing everywhere. I thought that'd be, but you just said that, and I was like, that'd be a cool culture to come into.
Have y'all played our par 3 tournament yet? We do?
I haven't. Did you play it?
No, my wife had something for us to do.
Joni.
Yeah. It's one of the things, like you're saying, like 5 hours for a course to play, and that's one of the reasons I can't play every weekend. Cause that's my day. This weekend we were painting, so that's my whole day.
So you would recommend 10 out of 10 for us to at least once walk this course?
Absolutely.
Me and Casey
We
in
bought
the
carts.
spring bought push carts to walk, and then summer came and
I usually walk when I play.
So as far as walking goes, I would, like you talked about Scotland, they walk. I would walk the courses that are like PGA Tour to get the feel, that kind of stuff, but I wouldn't come out here just to walk. I'm not that kind of person.
We know.
Like I walked
We can
Sawgrass,
tell.
it was fun. I'm not a big walker.
I think you see stuff that you in the cart you're flying by stuff. I think walking it like the first time I walked
You can
Point,
actually
I walked
see
9 holes at Point, and I went home and I told my wife, I said, 1, I found so many golf balls, and 2, I saw different parts of the course that I never even touched because I just walked from tee box straight to my ball, and then I'd go walk the wood line, then I'd walk over here, and I enjoyed it.
I mean, say we go walk as a fivesome right now. If we're all in carts, one of us is going to be on our own cart.
Yep.
Y'all two are in your own cart. Y'all are driving your ball. We talk to each other on the green, the tee box.
Yeah.
But if you're walking, you're pretty much walking to your ball. We're all sitting there just, talking to each other and whatnot. Too. You're thinking about your shot a little more. You feel the ground under your feet. You're staying and moving. Hey, and I like playing cart golf too. The problem is in the States, architecture-wise, they're built for carts. So the field is actually pretty walkable other than, you got the walk up between 3 and 4 that's pretty long. But other than that, there's probably one on the back. But the tees are pretty close to the greens here. Mm-hmm. You got some courses in the U.S. you can't go walking because you've got a 300-yard cart ride between some of the tees and green complexes. You go out to St. Andrews and walk. Those courses are set up. They actually used to tee the ball. There used to not be tees when golf courses first started. You actually teed it 2 club lengths off the edge of the green. Oh, wow. And people were playing match play. They weren't playing struck play, so there weren't all these different tee boxes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So if we're all playing matches, it doesn't really matter where we tee the ball up because we're playing against each other. Yeah. So as long as we all tee up from the same spot, then you're going to the next hole, and that's how it was originally kind of set up to play. And they're all double greens in places like that, and it's a tight course. So you're literally stepping off the green and onto the tee box. So they're very walkable. There's courses. I mean, even some we've done. It's the same thing we were talking about earlier with housing. You're trying to route that thing not just for the golfer in mind, but for that developer in mind, so he can get the most courses.
Let me ask you this, because when I hear you talk, it seems like you're like a romantic for the game of golf. How hard is it for you when you're with your dad designing a course I can tell by how much you love the origination of golf, but they're like, hey, we need this kind of golf course. And you're like, oh, it hurts me to make that kind of golf course.
I mean, there's definitely some of that, but it's at the end of the day too, that's how we make our living. I mean, it's work. So it's just like if you were an architect and you had an idea for what you wanted, but the client's like, hey, I want this over here. So it's a song and dance between what they want, what you think, but that's kind of where they hire us as well, because that's not what they do every day. So in their head they might have something, and so we're trying to meet them in the middle and say, hey, have you thought about this, or think about this maintenance wise or flow wise or game. So you're making some, I mean, of course we were just working at in Johnson City right now. I mean, there's one hole we hadn't even finished. We're going back Labor Day to restart on that job, and we got over to their 4th hole, and we're like, there's a big dispute on this tree that needs to come down. And we're like, this tree has got to go, like maintenance wise, whatever, architecture wise. It's in the way. It wasn't there in 1913 like it is now. Yeah. But the members don't want this tree down. And that's a spot where we like put our foot down. Hey, if our name's going to be on this and
gotta go,
and we're doing here, this really architecturally needs to go. And there's other times you're just like, whatever, it wouldn't be perfect, but it'll do.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a give and take. I mean, that's the business. I mean, they are your client ultimately, so we're going to do what they want to do, but they're hiring us too to lead them down that road.
Yeah. As Kevin Costner is to the Field of Dreams, I think Ashley is to golf. That's how it is. So we're going to do the drop zone real quick. You got I'm going to hit the little intro for us.
Yeah, so this is going to be like our little question of the day.
That one's going to be wet.
That we like to ask on the podcast, and you can answer it if you'd like to as well. Right. So the drop zone question today is, if the club limit was changed from 14 to 13, which club do you ditch from your bag?
No, add.
No.
It's 13 to 14.
No, 14 is the legal limit. Oh. We're dropping on 13.
Yeah, say it's going back to 13. Yeah.
What are you getting rid of? What you got, Zach?
Driver. I dropped the driver.
After you just told this man you want to be able to hit driver on his range, he's about to build you a tee box.
I can't hit 3-wood on it either.
Oh, okay. So you're getting rid of the driver?
Yeah, it's my most unreliable club.
You just take it out of the bag?
Yeah. No worries. 3-wood real quick.
Mitchell?
It would be the go-to.
I would probably I'll take my 4-iron out.
You don't hit it anyways. What's the matter?
I really don't.
I think too many people think wedges do too many things. You need one wedge. I'd get rid of 2 wedges, honestly, but the wedge all day.
I've heard of someone with 1 wedge.
Is it a 55-degree wedge? It was actually this course that we had a buddy that he did all this research on wedges, and he's like, I found the perfect wedge for me. It's a 55-degree wedge.
That was it.
And it was actually hole 9 right here, and he pulled it out, and I said, "Am I going to see it?" He said, "Yeah, this is deadly."
Only wedge I need.
Chunked it twice. But anyways, we won't get into him. What are you getting rid of?
I'm definitely keeping the wedges, and I guess I had to go with Mitch. Like the 4-iron is probably my least hit club in the bag.
Even as a lower handicap, you think you need that many wedges?
Yeah, I definitely like to work it. You know, right out here, I need like a 50 and a 54 to give me a little rollout.
You talking for that challenge we just did?
Yeah.
You had 2 wedges?
Not with me, but I would have liked to have if I knew that we were going to do that.
You could tell he's a low digit handicap, and there's us. What would you get rid of, you think?
Probably my hybrid, man. I can't even stand to look down at that thing. Yeah, definitely a hybrid or a longest iron.
Yeah.
So.
What's your handicap?
Oh, man, it's like a 20.
Oh, so you're one of us.
Yeah, I'm one of y'all for sure.
One of us.
I can strike the ball well, but I can't put a round together. I don't play enough.
What about it here? If you play real well out here, what are you shooting?
I mean, if I break 100 out here, I'm happy, honestly.
Me too.
I'm not.
Casey's had some struggles lately.
That's because he took me to the tips. I don't deserve to be at the tips. He made me play it.
Do you play tips or whites when you're playing?
I usually play the tips out here. But we'll switch it around a lot too. Like I'll switch the tees around, just feeling stuff out. Hey, what does this feel like from this hole or this hole? But a lot of the holes out here, I think people should play the tips more because the ball's gotten so much longer. So like say look at 5, like a lot of times the guy mowing grass plays in a golf group out here, so he always cheats the tees up a little bit. But like you should be landing that ball up on the top and hitting a longer iron in. A lot of people on 7, you look at a lot of good players out here, they might hit a shorter iron off so they can spin it more into 7 green. They're hitting up on top of that hill. You can hit drive out here so long on some of these holes that you're hitting this feel wedge shot in. So if you had a fuller iron, I think it's easier some holes to play back.
Mm-hmm. We always talk about once you're inside 100, it's like, put me 120.
Exactly.
Let me full swing that A wedge and I'm good.
You can live or die under that number. I feel like
100.
Yeah.
So out here, being the owner of the course, what's your favorite hole out here and why?
That's hard. I've got a love-hate relationship with almost all of them, but I really like 7 just because I like that approach in there. You can see all the way back to like down 17, up into 12. You're up on that high point coming down. I really like 7's green complex. It's got a lot of contour in it. It's a fun approach if that pin's like back right.
Yeah.
And I just, when I'm standing up there, it just relaxes me for some reason, like looking out. And to me, that's what golf's about. Like I can talk about the architecture and all that stuff, but it's the feeling you get when you're out there. And usually by the time I'm turning around there, like, man, I'm just standing up there. I'm like, man, this is just a beautiful place. I can't believe I get to just hang out out here.
It's probably the most beautiful course we played, for sure.
What's your favorite hole?
No.
Follow-up question for us. I like 17. I feel like it's driver.
Yeah.
And then you're just coming uphill.
Oh, now I've never seen you go driver.
You're the driver off the deck guy. That's right.
No, now he is.
Yeah.
Now he is.
So now driver next time we play.
Nice.
Here.
I love that approach into 17 is beautiful.
It just comes up, and then it's still up even more. You're like, oh, I get to swing all I got right here.
Go ahead.
Oh, I love that rock wall on 17 right there.
Yeah.
I love that's there. Even though I don't know how much it actually comes into play as long as you know it's there.
Oh, it does.
But yeah, I was thinking 7 when we asked the question. I was thinking 7 because, like you said, when you're in the fairway up there and you're on top of the hill, like you're looking over everything. And every time I get up there, as long as I keep one in the fairway, I'm like, I want to take a picture right here. Like I always like to look back at the clubhouse. Like I wish I had a really nice camera with me every time I'm there, because like that's the spot where you want to be.
The most satisfying hole for me is 11, even though I said I hate it earlier. When you actually clear the pond, stick it on the green, you feel like you played that hole the way it's supposed to be played.
Yeah.
Instead of it just landing on the lily pads and you're like, I could get it, but I can't get it.
We're going to get rid of those lily pads soon enough.
But 11's one of them you're like, I'm going driver. And you're like, I shouldn't go driver. I should just put
I got to.
You can in the wintertime, man. You'll roll it down there.
You'll get down
there. We end up right there.
Mitchell several times has came to 10 and said, I promise you I can clear the pond. And he does not clear the pond ever.
But I still hit it over and get it on in 2 normally. On 11.
Normally.
Debatable.
At 10? Oh,
yeah, right here.
I've come close to 10.
Because we can tee it up right. We can get a ball right now
and
let's film it. Is it true the par 3 is the highest point in Troup County, that green?
I've looked it up on a topo map. I think technically Mountville is the highest point in Troup County.
Okay.
But that's within a few feet.
We'll claim it.
Yeah.
So, but that's definitely the highest point on the golf course. And I don't think you can see Pine Mountain from Mountville. So staying up there, it's the only place I know of in Troup County you can look out and see Pine Mountain
I had
Ridge.
an older guy tell me one time, he said, that par 3, I used to be a member there a long, long time ago, and he said, up there's the highest point in Troup County.
It's within 15 feet.
Yeah, that's wild.
We'll take that claim.
Yeah, highest point in Troup County.
It's
right
definitely
here
the highest par 3 in
at the
Troup
field.
County.
Awesome. Do you have anything, Brandon?
No, that's it for me.
Well, I feel like we could come back and do a whole nother episode because I want to get
We'll
more
have
into.
to walk. We'll have to walk a couple holes with you.
Absolutely.
But I want to do another episode just on the architecture side of.
Man, anytime, you guys are welcome.
That's so fascinating to me, that part. Like I said, we'll have to go watch one day. I want to go out
Yeah,
there
man,
and
we'll
see
get you guys down to Vidalia and show you some.
How early do your
construction
crews
stuff.
usually start out in the morning?
We start about 6:30, 7 o'clock on the weekends, maybe a little earlier. But yeah, there's staff here 363 days a year. We take off Thanksgiving and Christmas. And then we've got somebody here from sunrise to sunset.
Well, let me ask you this before we end. If you're not playing the fields, what's your favorite course within a 30-minute drive to play? Do you live in LaGrange? Or do you travel?
I did live in LaGrange. I live in Columbus right now.
So
I'm going to be building a place out here between the range, and so I'll eventually end up living on the course. But I moved last year down to Columbus temporarily.
So let's say within an hour then, because there's some good
Columbus
courses.
to here, vice versa.
If you could just go play golf and relax, where are you going?
Yeah, I have to name a few. One of my favorites when I used to live up in Atlanta and go play with buddies, man, we'd go in the afternoons out to Chastain. Just, an old public course up there in Atlanta, and go out in the evenings right in the middle of the city. It's old course, and that's some of the most fun I've ever had on a golf course, just kind of chilling like we do out here. Let's see. Lately, I play Athens Country Club's an old Ross course. That's where my dad plays out of up there. It's a fun spot. I've got some good memories there playing with him. But I'm just not I'm a golf nerd. But as far as playing, it has more to do for me, like the people I'm playing with than like where I'm playing.
So what's your coolest course you've seen then? Like nicest that you went, you're like, this is amazing. Probably overseas.
Yeah, I mean, there's been some Bandon Dunes. You guys got to go there.
Like, we need to get
I mean,
there.
literally, it's a
We're
must
working
do.
on the next golf trip.
So as far as that's as close to you can get is going overseas in the U.S. Mike Kaiser did an amazing job with that. Andy's got some good stuff on his podcast right now on it if y'all want to listen to some of those. But I mean,
saw he had like one episode per course up there. I need to listen to it.
Pacific Dunes, like just amazing golf, and like I tried to emulate some things there where you feel like you're just out in nature, and this course just happened to be there. Probably my favorite course I've ever played, and some of that was probably just I had a good experience that day. But the Royal Dornick over in Scotland, way up on north of St. Andrews, and that's where Donald Ross was. He was another one that was a superintendent turned architect, and that's where he grew up and worked there and cut his teeth. And that place, man, it's just so simple and so pure. And that was when I started to get kind of really into architecture and was like, all right, this is what Dad's been doing with his life, and kind of it just made sense. But that was one of my favorite experiences I've ever had on a golf course.
Have you played the old course?
I haven't played it. I've walked it. I couldn't. I tried to get on that day. I just took 3 weeks and took a backpack, a camp stove, sleeping bag, and a tent, and I traveled Scotland just looking at golf courses and studying them. And I'd get on a train. I wouldn't go where I was going the next night. I'd go see another golf course, and you can camp just about anywhere in Scotland. So I'd get a hotel about every third night, and I just studied architecture and courses and maintenance. I love going in the maintenance barns and talking to guys about what they do maintenance-wise. And so that night I couldn't get on it, but I went out in the evening once all the golfers were off, and I walked all of St. Andrews and just checked it out. But I haven't got to play it yet. I want to play it. But that town, though, everybody talks about the course. That town is amazing.
Are you a big Tom Coyne guy?
It's I wouldn't say huge, but
I was his book about what a course called Irelander.
Yeah.
Where he just walked. He played every course in Ireland. I think he walked it and played every one. That's the whole book.
People are just so nice over there, man. It's a lot. It reminds me a lot of the South, like the hospitality. Like I had people offer to just, man, come stay the night with us or whatever. It's just it's super chill over there and just beautiful.
Well, that's awesome. We appreciate you doing this for us, and we'll definitely come back to another episode. Because I feel like
I appreciate y'all, man. I like what you guys are doing. It's a cool thing for. I wish y'all some awesome success with it.
Awesome. I think we're planning to come the 27th, right?
Yeah, we're going to
film another video.
We're going to come we'll have the drone then, so we'll get a couple shots.
Send it up. Hopefully not send it into a pond or a tree. It's going to be our first time flying a drone.
I've lost one out here already. Luckily, I bought the insurance for it. But I didn't realize the sensors when it got dusk, and I was trying to shoot some sunset shots, and I didn't realize they didn't work in low light, and I was trusting that thing to turn off or rise, and I just flew it straight into a berm out here on number 9. And it was done. That was like my second day in of droning.
Well, we're hoping for better luck.
Yeah,
hopefully.
Yeah. Well, we appreciate doing this. You can check us out on YouTube. You can listen to this, Apple and Spotify.
What's the YouTube link?
It's Nat. We finally official. YouTube.com/BeStillGolf. Check us out. Proud 90 BSG 15.
Roback still BSG 15
for now.
So and Vice. Play Vice.
Play Vice golf balls.
That's our new attack.
Vice, we're working with you. Come on.
If you want to keep your score, 18 birdies.
18 birdies. Yeah,
hey,
18 birdies.
While we're at it, Wildly, just shout them all out.
Shout everybody out.
Shout them all out. No, but for real, if you're in the area, even if you're in Atlanta, it's a short drive down here. Come check out the fields. It's an amazing course. We were talking about it. We got here at 5, and we said we need to start coming at 5:30, and just playing 9 holes. It's empty. Like there wasn't a lot of people. It's not busy. It's beautiful out here. So come check it out. It's a beautiful course and great people.
That's it. Peace.
See y'all next time.
Thank you, guys.